At 83, the tragedy of Eddie Levert is beyond heartbreaking. Eddie Levert. The name alone carries the weight of soul, history, and heartbreak. At 83 years old, his life is a melody of triumph and tragedy that few can imagine. From the golden age of soul music to the darkest corners of personal loss, Eddie's story is one that continues to touch hearts around the world. Part 1. Eddie Levert, the voice behind the OJs, was born in Bessemer, Alabama in 1942. His family later moved to Canton, Ohio, where his musical journey began. Part 2. As a teenager, Eddie's passion for singing turned into a purpose, and soon he formed a group that would later become known as the OJs. Part 3. Together they created timeless hits like Love Train, Backstabbers, and For the Love of Money. Part 4. These songs weren't just music, they were anthems of hope, unity, and resilience. Part 5. Eddie's voice, rich with soul and emotion, became the soundtrack for generations. Part 6. But behind that powerful voice was a man who carried deep pain. Part 7. Fame brought joy, but it also brought heartbreak that no parent should ever endure. Part 8. Eddie Levert's story took a tragic turn when he lost not one, but two of his beloved sons. Part 9. His eldest son, Gerald Levert, was a superstar in his own right. Part 10. Gerald carried the same soulful magic that ran through his father's veins. Part 11. From Casanova to Baby Hold On to Me, Gerald's voice melted hearts around the world. Part 12. But in 2006, tragedy struck. Part 13. Gerald Levert passed away suddenly at just 40 years old. Part 14. The news shattered Eddie's world. Part 15. He didn't just lose a son, he lost his best friend and musical partner. Part 16. The two had performed together, shared laughter, dreams, and memories that were now painfully frozen in time. Part 17. Eddie struggled to make sense of it all. Part 18. He had watched Gerald grow from a boy into a man who carried the family legacy proudly. Part 19. The pain of that loss never left him. Part 20. Just 2 years later, another devastating blow came. Part 21. Eddie's other son, Sean Levert, passed away in 2008. Part 22. Sean, also a talented singer, died while in custody at only 39 years old. Part 23. The heartbreak was unimaginable. Part 24. Eddie had buried two sons in less than 2 years. Part 25. For a father who had given so much love and guidance, the loss was unbearable. Part 26. Many wondered how he found the strength to keep going. Part 27. Eddie once said that faith and music were the only things keeping him alive. Part 28. He poured his grief into his performances, singing every lyric with the weight of a broken heart. Part 29. On stage, fans saw the legend, but behind the curtain, there was a father still mourning. Part 30. Each song became a tribute to his sons, a way to keep their spirits alive through music. Part 31. Despite his sorrow, Eddie continued touring with the OJs, giving his all to fans who had supported him for decades. Part 32. The world admired his resilience, but few knew the tears that came after the applause. Part 33. Even now, at 83, Eddie Levert stands as a living testament to strength through suffering. Part 34. Time has aged his voice, but not his spirit. Part 35. He speaks often about love, forgiveness, and the importance of cherishing every moment. Part 36. Eddie's story reminds us that behind every legend is a human being who has faced storms we can't imagine. Part 37. The pain of losing Gerald and Sean never truly fades. Part 38. In interviews, Eddie often gets emotional when remembering their laughter, their hugs, their music. Part 39. I miss my boys every single day, he once said, his voice trembling with grief. Part 40. But I know they're still with me in every note I sing. Part 41. That sentiment captures the essence of who Eddie Levert is, a man of love, loss, and lasting faith. Part 42. His music continues to inspire new generations who may not know his full story. Part 43. They dance to Love Train, unaware of the heartache behind the smile of the man who sang it. Part 44. But for those who do know, Eddie's journey is one of unimaginable strength. Part 45. His tragedies remind us how fragile life can be. Part 46. His perseverance teaches us how powerful the human spirit truly is. Part 47. At 83, Eddie Levert remains a symbol of grace in the face of sorrow. Part 48. His voice, though aged, still carries the soul of a man who's lived through love and loss. Part 49. And as we listen to his songs today, we don't just hear music, we hear a lifetime. Part 50. Eddie Levert, the legend, the father, the survivor. His tragedy is beyond heartbreaking, but his legacy is eternal. Eddie Levert, the legend, the survivor, the man whose life has been painted with both gold and grief. When we left off, we saw a father who had endured the unimaginable, losing both of his sons, Gerald and Sean. But even through that unbearable pain, Eddie's story didn't end there. Part 51. After the passing of his sons, Eddie faced a silence that was louder than any applause. Part 52. The studio, once filled with laughter and music, now felt like a hollow echo of memories. Part 53. He often spoke about how he would sit in the dark, listening to old recordings of Gerald and Sean, hearing their voices and feeling their presence. Part 54. It's like they're still singing to me, he said once, his eyes heavy with both pride and sorrow. Part 55. Music became his therapy, his connection to the past, and his way of staying sane. Part 56. Every note he sang carried the weight of his son's spirits. Part 57. Fans could feel it, the raw emotion, the pain, the love, woven into every lyric. Part 58. Despite his deep grief, Eddie continued to perform, proving that his love for music was stronger than the pain trying to silence him. Part 59. He would often dedicate songs to Gerald and Sean, whispering their names before the band started playing. Part 60. Audiences would weep, feeling the power of a father's love that refused to fade. Part 61. Off stage, though, Eddie struggled. The fame, the lights, the awards, none of it could replace the sons he lost. Part 62. He once admitted that he felt like part of him died with them. Part 63. And yet he found a way to keep going, holding on to faith, family, and purpose. Part 64. His wife and grandchildren became his reason to keep moving forward. Part 65. They reminded him that love still existed, even in the shadow of loss. Part 66. Eddie's legacy didn't stop with his pain. It expanded through his wisdom. Part 67. He began using his platform to talk about healing, forgiveness, and resilience. Part 68. When he spoke to young artists, he didn't just talk about music. He talked about life, loss, and learning to stand after falling. Part 69. He became a father figure to many in the industry, guiding them not just with his talent, but with his experience. Part 70. Many artists, from R&B to soul, call him a mentor and a hero. Part 71. And that's exactly what he is. A man who turned heartbreak into hope for others. Part 72. But even now at 83, there are moments when the memories return like a flood. Part 73. He once said he still dreams of his sons, that sometimes in those dreams, they're back on stage together, laughing, singing, smiling. Part 74. He wakes up in tears, but also with gratitude for those moments. Part 75. Because even if just in dreams, he gets to see his boys again. Part 76. Eddie's faith has been his anchor through it all. Part 77. He believes that one day he'll reunite with Gerald and Sean, that music, the same force that connected them on earth, will connect them again in eternity. Part 78. He talks about how each time he sings, it feels like sending a message to heaven. Part 79. That kind of love, a father's love, never dies. Part 80. Today, when fans see Eddie Levert, they see strength wrapped in humility. Part 81. They see a man who turned tragedy into testimony. Part 82. They see a survivor whose every note tells a story of love and loss. Part 83. At his age, many would have walked away from the stage long ago. Part 84. But Eddie still performs, even if just occasionally, because the stage is where his heart still beats. Part 85. Each time he holds that microphone, he honors his sons, his fans, and his journey. Part 86. And though his voice may tremble, it still carries that unmistakable soul. Part 87. The same soul that brought the OJs to glory, the same soul that helped millions find joy through music. Part 88. His laughter has softened, his steps are slower, but his heart remains full of the same love that shaped his entire life. Part 89. He once said, "As long as people remember my boys and our music, they'll never truly be gone." Part 90. And that's the truth. Every time someone plays Baby Hold On to Me or Love Train, the Levert legacy lives on. Part 91. Through the pain, through the tears, through the passing years, Eddie has remained a light in the darkness. Part 92. His story isn't just one of tragedy, it's one of courage. Part 93. It's about a man who refused to let heartbreak destroy him. Part 94. About a father who kept his son's memories alive through every breath he took. Part 95. About an artist who turned his sorrow into something beautiful. Part 96. Even now, fans young and old continue to celebrate him, not just for his music, but for his strength. Part 97. Eddie Levert is proof that love is eternal, that pain can become purpose, and that legends never truly die. Part 98. His story teaches us to hold our loved ones close, to cherish every moment, and to never take life for granted. Part 99. Because tomorrow isn't promised, but love lasts forever. Part 100. Eddie Levert, at 83, stands as a living reminder that even the deepest heartbreak can't silence the soul. His tragedy may be beyond heartbreaking, but his legacy, his spirit, will echo for generations to come.